Xenoblade Chronicles X is a game I have been anticipating to finally release on a modern day Nintendo platform for the longest time since it was trapped on that console that was the Wii U. And people, this is the JRPG lineup of 2025. This is a list of RPGs confirmed to be coming this year or have a strong possibility of being released. Now this list doesn't have all the RPGs, as I'm sure I'm missing some, and it's not going to have every last single indie RPG out there. I'll leave that to other videos and lists looking to bloat their numbers. But if you're looking for the main releases and most interesting titles, you're on the right video. I really do enjoy Xenoblade Chronicles X. Even though I have my fair share of issues with it, I do think overall it's a good game. I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed the setting, I enjoyed the combat. I definitely enjoyed the mech battles, so even though it took what felt like forever and a half to unlock the mech battles, they were still really fun. I'm literally looking forward to playing this game again on modern platforms, seeing it at full 1080p, better character models, along with better graphics overall. It's going to be very much a treat for the eyes. This is definitely one of my most anticipated JRPGs to come out. Freedom Wars is a game that was locked on the PS Vita for a very long time, and it's a game that when I first played it, I thoroughly enjoyed. It was a very unique concept. You were trying to get years off your prison sentence by doing various missions, dangerous missions that involve huge monsters that you can climb aboard, break off pieces, and basically, you know, do the whole hunting thing. It was sort of like doing a hunting style game similar to, of course, Monster Hunter, and something that I'm a little bit more familiar with, God Eater. I just hope the support is there for Freedom Wars when the remaster finally drops. I feel like a lot of people are very positive towards the game, but the question is it gonna get the sales that it probably needs when it releases? I'm not sure, but maybe there's a thing where it's just people are really hyped, they'll hit that like button, they'll hit that retweet, and they won't actually support the game when it comes out, but we shall see. It seems that we will be getting a lot of Tales of remasters in our future, and the first one that we are getting is the Tales of Graces F remaster. Tales of Graces F, I feel, is a really good game, even though I feel like the story kind of leans into the power of friendship theme a little bit too much. However, everything else, this is a bread and butter Tales of game if you ask me, and the combat is amongst the best I've seen in a Tales game. Hell, probably the best I've seen amongst a JRPG. It's that good, it's that fun, it's that fluid, and when you finally get a full CC capacity, which is the terminology that they use so that you can use your skills, use your arts and whatnot, it becomes a really fun game to play. I am very much looking forward to all the new additions that they will be adding to this remaster, one of which is the Grade Shop, which is pretty much used for any Tales of game, well, you know, Tales of games from back in the day, to enhance your second playthrough. And the Grade Shop will be available from the jump. So for people like me, I didn't even back then when Tales of Graces F originally came out in the States, I didn't really play the Tales of games over again. So I will be treating this playthrough as my second playthrough and usually utilizing the Grade Shop as much as I can. The Atelier games have been around for the longest time now, and I've gotten into them fairly recently with Atelier Ryza, and I played and finished all 3 Ryza games for very good reasons. Atelier Yumia looks to be a bit different from the usual Atelier game, going from a light-hearted and fairly casual fun adventures to more mature and what seems to be like a save the world from danger threat. It's nice to see the Atelier games going in a different direction, not only in the theme, but also the battle system has shifted from active turn-based to a more full-blown action RPG. I'm looking forward to experiencing this new Atelier game and seeing how everybody else reacts to it, because I believe this could possibly be the breakout game for the Atelier series. Legend of Heroes Trails into Daybreak 2 looks to pick off where Daybreak 1 left off. As of the making of this video, I haven't completed Daybreak 1, but when I play, I know I'm going to want to dive into Daybreak 2 as soon as it drops. The Trails games, as you all should know by now, are great at world building and having a cast of likable characters. It's no different here with Daybreak. If you haven't started the Legend of Heroes games yet at this point, I don't know what to tell you. It might seem like a huge set of games to get into, and to be honest, honest, it is, but it's all worth it in the end. And if you just play for an hour or two each day, making time to actually play the games, catching up shouldn't be too much of an issue because you'll be begging to see what happens next with each entry. It also seems like the Trails games in the States are finally catching up to Japan releases. Before you know it, we may see the next mainline Trails entry to come out. It could be a worldwide release. Since we are talking about Legend of Heroes, let's talk about Trails in the Sky 1 coming to us in 2025 as a full-blown remake. Sky 1 is the game that started it all, and to see this entry get the remake treatment is nearly a dream come true for me. I played Trails in the Sky 1 way back in the day, and it still has some of my favorite moments from the series as a whole. It would be nice to see how some of these moments play out in 3D. This is going to be a very important entry for the Trails games. It has the burden of living up to the hype that the fans of all the games have put into this franchise, and it is without doubt going to be a game that a lot of newcomers start with. I really like Sky 1, but is it good enough to capture a whole new audience who are unfamiliar with Trails? That's up in the air if you ask me, and hopefully this game does do good with reviews and impressions as well as sales, because I would love to see Sky 2 and Sky 3 remade as well. It's not every day you get a game from the PS2 era getting a sequel in modern times. From that era, I would have loved to see a new Rogue Galaxy or Shadow Heart instead, but it would seem the gaming gods and Nippon Ichi have decided to grace us with a sequel to a very niche game. Yes, the new Phantom Brave The Lost Hero is coming to us in 2025. I never got a chance to play the original, and to be honest, I don't think I'll be playing it. I think this would have been more on my radar had the developers not gone for the chibi 3D models like they did with the latest Disgaea, a change of which I'm not the biggest fan of. Nevertheless, it's nice to see a new Phantom Brave. I don't have much hype for it myself, but let me know if you have played the original Phantom Brave on PS2 and are eagerly awaiting this sequel. I have tackled the vast amount of old school RPGs in my time as a gamer, but one of the series that have ever eluded me is Suikoden. I've heard nothing but good things about the first two Suikoden games, so I guess it should come as no surprise that these games are getting remasters. I'm looking forward to seeing what all the fuss is about and what exactly makes these classic RPGs so special. It's been delayed quite a bit, so I'm hoping these remasters will be the definitive way to play these games. I'm especially looking forward to them as I tried to play the spiritual successor, or maybe even spiritual inspiration, that was Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes, and I was none too impressed by it. Hopefully the game that birthed the inspiration will be much better in my eyes. Now, is this next game a JRPG? Absolutely not, but this is my list and I wanted to talk about the game anyway. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a turn-based RPG created by Western developers. The only reason I have it here really is because of its turn-based combat looks to be something special. Turn-based combat is, as you probably already noticed, a stationary affair. Now, I always thought that if you're going to be a turn-based game in modern times, you need to make battles look fast, fluid, and as dynamic as possible to keep this generation of gamers more engaged. Expedition 33 looks to be all those things, and maybe something Square Enix should have tried to do with their newer mainline Final Fantasies to keep tradition alive. To be honest, the only thing I'm expecting from this game is exciting and engrossing turn-based combat. Story and characters mean very little to me when it comes to this one. If this game's combat absolutely nails what the trailers are showcasing, this could be the biggest leap in turn-based combat we have seen since its inception. Pokemon is a franchise I'm never really hyped for, never really all that interested in, but for some reason it keeps ending up in my house. Pokemon is just too big to fail at this point, and we could know all the terrible negatives about this game well beforehand and it will still sell like crazy. Pokemon Legends ZA is the next major Pokemon game to come out. I divvied very little into Pokemon Legends Arceus, but it wasn't all that bad from what I played. I enjoyed the spin that they put on the battle system, and the setting was different from your typical Pokemon game. If this game is more the same, I could see it being received positively by the fans, and I hope the performance is much better with the Switch 2 on the horizon. As I said before, I don't really plan to get this game, but I know for whatever reason it's going to end up in my possession. I said earlier that I wanted a new Shadow Hearts game, and well, this one is kinda the next best thing that we can hope for. Penny Blood is a spiritual successor to the aforementioned. It's a Kickstarter game, so hopefully it's actually worth the time for me personally. Anything that has Shadow Hearts mentioned already has my curiosity, and from the little gameplay that we have seen so far, this game undoubtedly has my attention. Not sure if it will release in 2025, but one can certainly hope. Keeping with the Kickstarters and spiritual successors, we have Arm Fantasia, which looks to pick up where the Wild Arms series stopped cold. I've only played Wild Arms 3 and I thought it was a pretty decent RPG. This one looks to pick up the tone and atmosphere of Wild Arms and capture what makes the classic series so special. I'm still a little bit wary of Kickstarter games, but I have my hopes high that this one and Penny Blood will put my worries at ease. I'm gonna try to be as positive with these games as I can. I'm no stranger to mobile gacha games. Yes, I play Fate Grand Order and Nikkei, and I'm not really looking to add any others to my roster. Although Zenless Zone Zero is kinda making me reconsider that. But anyway, the newest and possibly next big gacha game is Project Mugen, or as it's now called, Aneta. I'm seeing this game being looked at as an open world Spider-Man type of game that you can swing around a huge world, but only this time you're doing it with anime style characters. I have to see more before I gain any more hype for it. It looks fun and a little bit bombastic, so I'm sure it has a chance to find a spot in the top grossing gacha games. I'm sure I got more than a few people saying gacha games are trash, but if you look at the amount of money they make month over month, you could see at the very least why they exist. The Fate franchise has been around for a very long time, and we are hoping to see a remake of the first PSP game, Fate Extra, coming out in 2025. I dabbled a little bit in the turn-based PSP visual novel when it was first released, but now getting to play the modern-day remake is a chance I just can't pass up. This game has gone off the radar for quite some time now, so hopefully we get more information and trailers released for the game soon. Who knows, if this one ends up getting a good reception when it releases, we could possibly end up getting its sequel remade as well. Seeing some of my favorite servants in HD will be exciting, and the updated combat and visuals look like they'll be doing this game justice. Let's just hope more is shown of this game in the coming months for a release later on in the year. This next game comes from a series that I just cannot get into personally. What can I say? It's just not my cup of tea. RPG and traditional farming elements never really click with me, so Rune Factory games are never really on my radar. But this new game, Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, seems to be going in a more dramatic story direction than your typical Rune Factory game. Of course, farming and romance options will be in the game, but you'll also get what seems like the best combat the series has ever put forth. Rune Factory is just one of those series that I'm surprised made a comeback in this day and age. I look forward to seeing how long the series can keep sticking around for. Yet another Atelier game is making its way to us. Atelier Resleriana, the Red Alchemist and the White Guardian, is a spin-off to the mobile gacha game Atelier Resleriana, and it will not, I repeat, it will not have gacha elements, but instead be a traditional RPG with normal story progression. I played the mobile gacha game for a little bit and it seemed decent for what it was. I am rather surprised we are getting this RPG version of the game, but Atelier just doesn't know when to quit, for better or worse, but better because Yumia looks pretty good. So for those that enjoy this franchise and can't get enough, here's your chance to get more of what you love. I am sorry to say, but Monster Hunter is just a franchise I personally cannot get into. Maybe I can look to change that with this new entry, but if I'm going to play a hunting style game, just give me another God Eater game. Namco Bandai, please. Monster Hunter Wilds looks to keep the momentum going that the previous games enjoyed. Seems like everyone who played the beta says it has great Monster Hunter gameplay people have come to know and love over the years, but with some improvements. Here and there was some performance issues, but hopefully that gets ironed out with the final release. And I don't know, I just find the gameplay of Monster Hunter to be slow and not sluggish, but it moves at a fixed pace that I'm not a fan of. But if you enjoy Monster Hunter, let me know if you think this game will be just as big of a deal as World was. Lunar is yet another classic RPG series that I haven't dug too deep into myself. I only played Silver Star Harmony back on PSP and thought it was a pretty enjoyable game. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Lunar collection can bring to the table and help revitalize the classic RPGs. The retouched sprites and battle system look great, and it's always a treat to see a classic RPG getting the modern day remaster treatment. Hopefully it has modern day conveniences like being able to speed up battle and maybe some other shortcut options. I'm curious, if you made it this far in the video, let me pose a question to you. Should I prioritize playing the Lunar Collection Remaster or Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters? Both I'm assuming are good and can't go wrong with either, but if you had to recommend one for me to make sure that I play, which one is it? Pixel art is something I'm always interested in for an RPG, and Threads of Time looks to utilize the art style to great effect. The character pixel art looks extremely well done, and the concept of jumping around to different time periods to save the world looks very intriguing. Combat is turn-based and is very much inspired by RPGs of yesteryear like Chrono Cross, which, if you're going to shoot your shot at copying one of the greatest RPGs in existence, well, you better not miss. Looking at the game more, I have high hopes for it, and it's very much one of the RPGs I'm looking forward to playing this year. Lost Helin is yet another one looking to capture the magic of classic games, this looking to capture RPGs of the PS1 era, I think. Looking at this game, I'm immediately thinking of the traversal looking like something out of Final Fantasy VIII, but the combat looks to be a mixture of action and strategy. The game has a couple of veterans working on parts of the game, like the music director of Final Fantasy XII and Atelier Chronicles, and the artist from Gravity Rush doing designs. The game looks to be very promising. I'm hoping it will be a good RPG and we can keep getting others like it. Or maybe we'll have people saying we're getting too many RPGs trying to recapture the magic of a bygone era. Or maybe modern RPGs need to learn more from a bygone era. And that is all the games I have for this list. Let me know down below what is your most anticipated JRPG of this year, or maybe there's a game that wasn't on here that you want to talk about. I love to hear it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.